What is up, all you beautiful people? It is I, AkemiTCG, here with the brand new podcast slash deep dive on the Yugi panel. So a lot of you have subbed to my channel because I initially played Crusadias and I went ham on it. I went through 3 or 4 regionals with it, and I pretty much try to innovate every single way I could play Crusadias, even with the hits, even with the Redmd errata. I try to keep pushing through the deck. But as of recently, I do play a lot of ORICA, so I'm trying to innovate with that deck a lot more, and it's actually taking up a ton of time. But in the meantime, I have not given up on the Crusadia deck. I am going to be interviewing one of the best Crusadia players of all time. If you haven't heard of him, his name is TeamCOG. He does have a YouTube channel, and he's innovating with a Crusadia Chaos Space deck. What? So I'm super excited to interview him and talk to him and pretty much talk about the philosophies of his build and share his deck build with all of you guys, all of you interested viewers, and we can probably have some debate back and forth between some card choices, so maybe you can get some new ideas out of that too. If you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Akemi. I pretty much play Rika's Crusadias and do pretty much every single Yu-Gi-Oh content that piques my interest. My bottom line is I want high quality Yu-Gi-Oh content for you to watch, and also I want to help you become a better duelist at the end of the day. So if you want to help join this journey and help support the cause, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's do it. We are back here with TeamCOG. How are you doing today, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I noticed you dropped a Chaos Space variant of Crusadias. Like, what?
Yeah. So the entire idea becomes from one of my commenters. I forget his name. I can't tell you his name, but he knows who he is. And yeah, he dropped in. He's like, why not play Chaos Space? And at first I was like, bro, it discards from the hand. We play from the hand. We can't do that. And then I was like, well, let me read this card. And then I read it and I was like, oh, it completely, it doesn't even neg you from the hand. You get a draw from it. So like it completely replaces itself. So then the gears started to work and I was like, well, let's test it out here. Let's 3 in. Then I realized, like, as good as Ranru was, I was like, let's trade out Ranru for the Chaos Valkyrie and go from there. And technically in my thought process was that the best dragons that we have in the deck outside of Draco is the black and white dragon.
Right.
So I was like, by getting instant access to those, we kind of replaced the need for Ranru.
Right. Exactly. Banish a light or dark. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, for the audience here, we're gonna just break down this whole entire deck profile, and then, if you may, do you mind, discussing how you went 8-0, like, let's say what your hardest matchup, what your worst matchup was afterwards?
Not at all.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
Let's go right
we'll
through
break
it.
it down. Okay, so I guess to start it off with, of course, you play the one Red Eyes Darkness Metal, the errata version. It's still like one of the best dragons to summon off of it. I still choose not to play Brotar because Brotar, it discards from the hand and you never get that back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't have that recursion with Brotar. And then, of course, we play Gameciel because Gameciel, it's game in the name. It's one of the best Skull Dread targets we have. And essentially with Waterfront, it's practically free. We get it, special it. Not much more to say. Then we have the 3 Paralytic Seed. This card is bonkers. I mean, this card is I can't even stress how, even if I didn't play going first, I would play this in the going second because the instant rank 4 access this card gives us is phenomenal. You can make Rafflesia on your 5th summon, which says no to the rock. You can make, Dweller. You can make Dugaris the Watchless or the Dugaris the Timeless. And it just depends. It's like whatever rank 4 you want, this card is. And it's just remarkable. I really can't. I wish it was super or something, but sadly it's common at the moment.
For now, but it'll be a super and OTS pack, I guarantee you.
Oh, I hope so.
For sure.
I really can't. Really Exceed didn't float to my hand a lot. I think maybe every other match it was in my hand, but on the last game, on my 8th match against Eldritch, Exceed was in my hand every single game. Game 1, game 2, game 3, he was right there. And he just allowed me to make Rafflesia. He allowed me to make Dweller, because, Dweller against Eldritch just practically shuts down their entire strategy.
Right, yeah. This card single-handedly kills Eldritch. And also, like, surprisingly, this card, too.
Yes, if you get both of them up, you cover everything
Right.
from, you get the Grave with Dweller, and then Reflasia covers the hand and the Banish. So like it's pretty good. Another
Also,
thing
it
to note
burns
with
them for
Exceed,
2k too.
yes, which puts you puts them just in Equimax range to kill them for the game for the turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
The another important thing to note about Exceed is Exceed in worst case scenarios, like if you just open a Crusadia plus Exceed, that's still combo because you can turn one of the Exceeds into Ling Kribo, and then that protects you from cards like Impermanence. Like I'm thinking of like the Conquistador, the Habanero, you name it. It can kind of protect you from it. But outside of that, there's not really much to say. Like you said, I hope it gets super in the OTS because I will definitely pick it up then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The next card is just the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, one of the best dragon extenders we have, the black and white dragon. But I definitely, not much really to say about them, but definitely the newest addition to the deck is the 2 cards that are sitting right there in the middle,
Oh
which is
no.
Chaos Valkyrie. So this card technically replaced Ranru. And the reason that it replaced Ranru is because now, thanks to Chaos Space and Draco, we still will have access to a dragon throughout our combo, or we should. The problem with Ranru is if you draw it off of your Skull Dread, and you like it's dead. It's just a dead card in your hand because Ranru's only live when you first make your first Magius. And then in order to play it later on in the combos, you have to finagle your way around with either wasting that extra Magius in your extra deck or hoping to draw into a Reclusia. So Chaos Valkyrie was essentially it's alive all throughout the combo. It just requires a light in the graveyard, and coincidentally, Maximus is a light if you hard draw him. Magius is a light, so once you get into your next link 2, this card's live. But a very interesting play that this card has is if you banish this card, if this card is pitched off a Chaos Space and you search the Black Dragon and you banish this, you immediately get to send the Maximus from your deck to your graveyard. And that gives you total access to the entire rank 4 and the Crusadia part of your engine. Because you can't use its effect the turn it's sent, but every Crusadia that special summons, that's not an effect. That's just it's an inherent summon,
It's an
for
inherent
lack of
summon,
better
right?
term. So you practically just get to dump this to the graveyard and get to add it back off the Draco, and then you have a level 4 Crusadia, which is 2 parts of the extenders you need to continue on to make your finishing board. And for one thing I have noticed upon playtesting is if you don't see Maximus that turn 3 when you're trying to one punch or trying to kill them, it's kind of difficult because if you don't have access to Maximus, you can't do double battle damage. But with Chaos Valkyrie, you practically get it. You get it to dump it right to the graveyard, and it's there for you to utilize further in your turn or later on.
The next card is going to be Crusadia Maximus.
Okay, you let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. Maximus.
No. All right. So Maximus is one of the it's the best card in the deck now, and you have immediate access to it via Magius and the Chaos Valkyrie now. Maximus just does it's the double battle damage. It's a level 4. It's special summon, so it completes a lot of, and it's a Crusadia by name, so it completes all those things that are needed. And yeah, not much more to say, But if we move on, we just have Crusadia Draco, Recursion from the graveyard. You can chain block the Magius with it, and then so there is some hands where you won't even add the Draco, you'll add the Maximus for the Chaos Space, and you can combo off that way without even use the Red Eyes Darkness Metal.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be nice.
So then we have 2 Leonis. So Leonis I definitely did not want to cut because I was this deck loses when it doesn't see a Crusadia, so why would I cut any Crusadia from the list? Well, to make space to kind of keep it as close to 40 as I could, I had to cut Leonis because he is subjectively the worst Crusadia.
Yes, that is very true.
He just does piercing. That's it. And sometimes that comes up, but if it comes up enough, you have 2 of it to get access to it. So we cut it down to 2. And yeah, other than that, it's just a name to special summon. If the chances come up, you need to do double battle or piercing. It's there. Arborea is actually really good because Arborea, it is protection. It's that nonchalant, non-activating graveyard protection. It also in today's format, if you see Arborea in your opening hand, you always normal summon the Arborea, because if you normal summon the Arborea and they ogre your Magius, you get to protect the Magius.
Right, especially if they don't know what the deck does, then it's free.
Yeah, and ogre's running around because of the Numeron field spell. It's kind of going rampant.
That's for sure.
So Reclusia is the next one. Reclusia is just in here because Reclusia is the going second. You just get to force cards, pop cards. It's better than Leona, so that's why it's still at 3.
It's because
And
like it's
then
just good going first or second.
yeah, and going second, you can force cards like normal summoning, making Magius, and then initial summoning this, and then making it chain 2 and Magius chain 1, forces the Savage, forces the Herald, and then no matter what, even if it forces out, you're still going to get the Magius search to continue on.
And what's really neat is you can use whatever monster you pop with Reclusia, like your own Crusadian monster, you can just protect it with Aboria anyways. So it could work in your
that's
favor.
another. Yep. If you want to keep the Reclusia alive, you just banish the Arborea if that's the card you normal summon.
Right.
So then after the Reclusive, we have the honorary mention of Foreman Skipper. So Foreman Skipper is actually bonkers. I actually kind of contemplated dropping this to 2 and keeping Leonis at 3, but then I was like, but Skipper does more than Leonis. So this card right here just reveals a Crusadia in the extra deck. It becomes that name. Do never reveal Magius, because then you can't link into Magius.
Right.
Reveal any Crusadia, link it off, get a search for Paralytic Seed, which of course, then when you make your Spatha, but this is going to be like, never summon the Paralytic Seed on the Spatha because you just prompt the rock early. So if they have the rock and they rock you, that's okay, because then you can just make Link Spider, and if you held the Paralytic Seed can then summon itself and then become a rank 4 of your choosing.
Oh yeah, that is a really good point. That's a good one for the viewers here.
For
Because
so many times,
yeah,
I would fire it off on the Spatha, and then I'd get rocked, and then I'd be like, well, shoot. But then I had Draco in my hand. It's better to just hold the Paralytic Seed, get rocked when you use the Draco, and then just kind of, because you're going to get a card back from the Draco, so then you can just kind of climb on up and get into Equimax with either a rank 4 or Equimax with a Link Rebo, something like that.
Right.
And then we have 1 Terraforming to search out Kyoto Waterfront. Not much to be said. Monster Reborn, I still play the Monster Reborn. It's free essentially.
It's good.
And then 3, yeah, it's good, especially 3 Chaos Space. Now this card is just like, I would never, if you were to tell me back when this card came out that I would be playing in Crusadias, I would have told you you're crazy. But now that I have it and I'm playing it, I can tell you like this card is bonkers, because throughout your combo, you're always going to have access to a light via the Magius. If you pitch. Now, the only downside is you don't really have a lot of darks to search. You can pitch, like, you only play like 2 darks in the deck, so like you very seldom won't search the white dragon. Most of the time you'll be searching the dark dragon. But Chaos Space plus like Valkyrie is just like remarkable. I actually, in one of my videos, I showcased where if you open Foreman Skipper, Chaos Valkyrie, and Chaos Space, and like any assortment of cards that are not Crusadias, you will get your Crusadia cards into cycle because of Chaos Valkyrie and Magius getting you Draco, dumping the Maximus, and then it's just quite crazy, to be honest with you. It pitches a card from the hand, which I've always preached. Any card that discards from the hand in this deck is bad. But then, like, as you do your typical combo, you banish and you draw a card. And then if you banish, like, the Black Dragon, you add it back, then you get to recur the Black Dragon when you link off the White Dragon. So essentially, it's kind of a +1 in a way. I mean, you can't really do anything at hand advantage because you've already used, like, the Black Dragon that turn. But, I mean, cards in your hand are technically advantage regardless if they do anything or not.
So the issue I see with the Chaos Space, I'm gonna throw some questions here, because this engine's arguably the most intriguing engine, especially since it's a TCG exclusive for any of you OCG players out there. With Chaos Space, because you have, let's say, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 7 targets, right? And you're playing 3 copies of Chaos Space. First question is, does it happen where you just draw into multiple copies of Chaos Space and you're like, well, it happens?
Yes, it does. It very well does. And Chaos Space is a hard once per turn. So, but again, the similar strategy I have with it is if you draw into multiples, as if you can get the Skull Dread, you can fix that. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And then the Black and White Dragon just give you so much extending that sometimes, like, a counter argument for that is, well, what if they have hand traps? Well, you might open 2 Chaos Space, but you still have 3 other cards to work with. And if those cards are like Crusadia plus Paralytic Seed or, 2 Crusadias, you still practically get to go practically off. It does stink when you do banish Chaos Space to draw and you draw into another Chaos Space. It's almost like desires into desires. I mean, it does happen. I'm not going to lie, but the chances of it happening are quite slim. If you open multiples, you can just fix it with your Skull Dread. and it's kind of like the way I look at it is it's an extra card you can put back in the way like to get a fresh card off of Skull Dread. But I'm trying, yeah. So I guess it happens. You know, it's like I said, it's almost I view it the same way as like desires or anything like that. If you draw into it off of it, it's likely to happen. If you open multiples, you can just fix it with Skull Dread.
And my second question is, have you reconsidered, because you're only playing one real dark target, so you can't really search these 6 cards really unless you just dump Black Dragon. And you usually don't want to dump it because your Magius is an instant light, so this card's just super free in the deck. So have you
You're absolutely,
considered replaying or putting back in the Rocket Tracer with Quick Launch Engine, so to making more use of your Chaos Space? Because when you draw into what is it, the Rocket Tracer, it's dead in the hand, but with Chaos Space it's actually not dead at all.
Absolutely. It just space in the deck is so tight. Like
Yeah, it
maybe
is.
if maybe once Zexal kind of goes away again, then we can go back to playing like all gas in the deck. We could take out the end perms and put in like quick launch, and then maybe cut down a few of the Crusadias, as I bite my tongue and say it. Cut down a few of the Crusadias and incorporate the Tracer. But for the most part, so a very interesting thing. You open the Black Dragon with Chaos Space. You can pitch the Black Dragon for the White Dragon, and then you banish the White Dragon to summon itself out.
Yeah.
And then you just use Chaos Space right there to put the Black Dragon back in the deck. So it's almost like you never lose that value. Because then once you link away, you'll get the Black Dragon right back.
Oh wait, that's so free, dude. Because you just okay,
Yeah.
you summon, you get either black or white, you pitch the opposite one, if I'm doing this correctly, and then you use Chaos Space to send that banished one, put it back to the bottom, and then you draw a card off of it too, which is nice. So you recur that card you lost. Then once you link off or get rid of Call Up Serpent or Wyvern Buster, you get the other one back to your hand. So you're actually effectively plussing, actually.
Yeah, so like either way, if you open white or black, you're always going to be able to essentially get that plus. The only questionable card is that, like I said, if you open Redmd and you pitch Redmd, you kind of have to search the White Dragon and you banish Red Eyes Darkness Metal. But as I said prior to this, sometimes you don't even need Redmd. Like you can combo off by just, with the Black Dragon and the White Dragon and Draco alone. But you could also play Pisty in the deck. And actually, I noticed in my list right now, I don't have it. But I probably would definitely either cut the Nightmare Phoenix or something for it if it came up a lot. But you got to remember the likelihood of you seeing Redmd with the Chaos Space is slim because Redmd is a one of. So the chances are there, especially if you're me, you're probably going to see it a lot. But if you're a decent player or an average player, you're probably never going to see it. But you can play Pisty to just bring instead of LP. So do the combo when you go into Spatha, instead of making LP, you just make Pisty, bring back the Banish Redmd, continue through the combo. And then you have LP to be able to go into later on the combo to bring out something if you so choose,
Right. When is Grand Magic Crusadia coming out? Because you can play Chaos Space with Gizmek. No, Orochi.
Orochi. No. I actually, believe it or not, I did take a little bit of inspiration for your build, and I was really hardcore thinking about popping in Kaku.
Oh, Kaku is so good going second.
Yeah,
man.
I was
It's
planning
just
on
good.
siding it. Yeah, I was going to think about siding it. I just couldn't get my other. I want to play 3 of it or side 3 of it, and I just couldn't get my other 2 copies of it. But Kaku would definitely be in the side deck for sure. At least, kind of like this event, this locals I went to, it was like a 20-man locals. We went to it, and it was kind of like it was winging it, like I only tested this like test hands online. I hadn't really like put it through the grinder yet. So like I was like gonna go all over it, like I'll like test my side deck, kind of throw in some crazy text like I was thinking would be good and see how they did. But Chaos Space overperformed. I really can't.
This card is disgusting, dude.
Yeah, and then to think that, and it's something like to think that we could play it so easy. Like I never even thought. I was like, wow, when just by going through our combo, we can get with Magius, we can grab the Maximus, and then their Chaos Space is live. And then I was like, now wait a minute. But then if you always want to search Draco, as I was telling you before we started, like you always want to search Draco. But then I was like, I tested and did some combos and stuff like that, and I was like, oh well, you don't have to search Draco. The Black and White Dragon can just get you to Skull Dread without even using Redmd. Because the problem is like when you don't search Draco and you summon Redmd off the LP, Redmd cannot bring back the Black or White Dragon.
Yeah, that's the huge problem. You usually grab. Actually, the only real target you have with Redmd is Draco, and that's probably why you don't really need Redmd as much. It's just more like an extra extender. So like yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there's just some, I don't know, it's very difficult to describe. There's some hands you will have, and then you can just tell, like this hand can't do it. You need to go like Skull Dread, because not Skull Dread, Redmd, because Redmd is so free. You just special them out, then reborn a card, make Skull Dread. But there are
right.
some hands like you will get, like you're not always guaranteed to open Chaos Space. You know what I mean? So the standard combo is just going for Redmd. But if you open Chaos Space and stuff like that, you just have the ability to go without making Redmd and like chain block out the Skull Dread to where they can't ash it, they can't, ogre it. They can still smack it with an imperm, but I mean, if they got it, they got it. But
Right. And it's just a part of the game at this point. Like with the Crusadia builds, especially if we're playing like this combo variant with mostly Crusadias, otherwise it wouldn't be called Crusadia, right? It'll be like rockets with a Boreal engine, you know what I mean?
yes, exactly. Yep.
Like it's trickier to like we're so what I'm trying to say is we're so fortunate to have Format Skipper, which is technically another Crusadia that we don't have yet. I'm praying Konami releases more new monsters for this deck. And the real innovation comes from literally every other card besides the main Crusadia package. And most of the time, people are playing the Gamma Seal package or the One Punch package. It just depends on preference.
Yeah, totally. At this point, that's all. It's just, do you like going first? Do you like going second? It's just entirely up to your choice. But yeah, we are very blessed that Format Skipper is an additional starter for us. And this, outside, like if Format Skipper was a Crusadia card, it would be the best Crusadia card because of what it does. It grabs you Exceed, which of course by that point Exceed would have to be a Crusadia card. But at the point right now, I much rather see Format Skipper than almost any other Crusadia to start my combos off, because just getting access to Parallel Exceed is just so great, so good in the combo. And like I said, allows you to play instead of playing through the rock. Instead of playing around the rock, we play through it. And that's, people, as I think that the rock is slowly falling out of favor. I think that its impact is very less because more decks out there know how to play through/around it.
Right, like the new Infernoble Knight. I know you're working on it. You are, right? Or no?
I've been tinkering with it. I kind of been hesitant because of the prices of Gearfried and Renaud, but I do have it built online that I've been kind of like touch basing with. I do watch a lot of the Dueling Book. I watch a lot of like the top ranked in Dueling Book, and a lot of people are playing it. So I've been watching it play, sort of say, to learn it a little bit better.
There's a channel. I don't know if you know this guy's name. I'm pretty sure you do. Shunping Yu.
Yes, didn't he take the Dragon Link? He won the last UDS with Dragon Link, right?
Yeah, and he's I'm gonna say it right here. I'm probably gonna get blasted for this, but in my opinion, he's literally the best combo deck player in the whole entire world, uncontested. And he just started a YouTube channel where he goes through like combos step by step, and it's just absolutely astonishing how his mind works. Like literally, I watch one of his videos, and I'm in like a different realm. You know what I mean? Like in terms of combos.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He does like one card combos where he ends with 7 cards in his hand and a whole board. And I'm like, how are you doing this with Noble Knights?
Like Noble, like this ain't Noble Knights. Wait, this is Noble Knights?
Infernoble Knights.
Yeah. You're correct. Yes. We don't resort to call them the stepchild, the Noble Knights that have become.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Crusadia Skipper to become an actual card and us to be able to make a whole Crusadia combo with only one card. That'd be amazing.
That would be remarkable. So, like, coincidentally enough, I was looking at it. So, the World Legacy stuff is technically like the new, or I think now the Dogmatica is the new World Legacy. So, the stuff that came, not the new Dual Terminal. So, if you look back to when, like, 2015, when Satellar Knights, Yangzing, Shadals, all that storyline, that Dual Terminal was happening, it was like 2 sets went by, or 3 sets. We didn't get nothing. Then all of a sudden, they gave like everything a bunch of support, kind of like last minute.
Right.
So we very well could see that happening for all the World Legacy archetypes, going through maybe like 2 or 3 sets, and bam, like a kind of a conclusion to the story, giving everything kind of like a last bit support cards.
Yeah, I would really hope so, because we're moving towards a new, like, I don't think the US is getting it, but like, isn't Rush Duels like a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh series?
I think so, yeah.
So we should be, well, we're not really moving towards new Master Rule, which I don't mind, because I'm still, not gonna lie, I'm still adapting to this.
Yes, it's definitely interesting, that's for sure.
All right, so 2 successions. Obviously, you took out the Guardragons because you don't have that many targets, which makes sense.
Yes. Yep. And then now, so like in the at the locals that I went to, I did actually play Guardragon, and this is going to sound very, very weird. I really like Guardragon. Actually, the problem with Guardragon was you only have now Draco to interact with. So I did like it didn't come up at all, but I still chose to cut Guardragon or a succession. Now I just think I just did that this morning because I was like, it's if you draw into like the hand where you can combo without getting access to Draco, Guardragon isn't doing you anything. The only thing that I don't like about Succession, and it's the only thing that kind of keeps me wavering back and forth between still playing Guardragon and Succession, is 2 Successions and 1 Guardragon, is the fact that Succession is a once per turn.
Right, and that makes it tricky. I mean, you could play. I mean, alternatives could be Living Fossil, but you only have 6 targets for that if you know what that card does.
Yeah, yep, yeah. So, and then Guardragon just allows us, like, Guardragon is very pivotal because it allows us to play through like an Asher Imperm on the LP because it can just bring it back. If they Imperm the Spatha, we just smack down Guardragon, just move the LP ourselves. So it's definitely, I think that'll be probably the spot where I'm going to bounce back and forth between Guardragon and Succession, because I like not having a hard once per turn, because they will be hands on the Skull Dread that are straight bonkers. You'll draw Reborn, Succession, and Guardragon. And like those 3 cards are just like, well, I know what 3 cards I'm keeping.
Right,
But
exactly.
then if you drew Monster Reborn, Succession, it's not, it's like, okay, well, I can only keep 1 Succession, whereas you have that power card. Or, if you early on the combo, if you use Succession because you have to and you draw into another one, you can't keep it. Whereas if you drew into Guardragon, you could use it.
Right, and the whole entire deck is basically, you play with this hand, you have 1 chance to fix this hand with Skull Dread, and if you can't fix it, that might cost you the game.
Exactly, yeah. So it's definitely out there in the debate if I'm going to keep 2 Successions or maybe go back to the 1 Guardragon. But yeah, so we have cut down here to 2 power, and actually I think that I am playing 3 powers. I believe, I think it's 43 cards now, because I put 1 back in right before the event started because I was too chicken, to be honest with you.
And it
So
hurts, man. Like, it hurts when you summon like your Spatha or your, even if you're Echo Master and you're going for game and then they just Nibiru you. It sucks.
yeah, it really does. Yeah, so I did power is definitely back in there at 3. Because, and then I still prefer this over Call by the Grave, because
Right.
Call by the Grave just protects the LP, and that's practically it. And it technically can protect the Skull Dread. That's technically it. Crusadia Power protects all your Crusadia plays, and at the end of the day, your board is always going to end on an Equimax. So like, this card also is better because you can chain to Dark Ruler No More with this. Whereas like if your opponent fires off Dark Ruler No More, first thing they do, and they have like no hand traps in the grave, your Call by the Grave can't even activate, so you just eat that Dark Ruler. Whereas with Crusadia Power, they fire off Dark Ruler No More, you just chain the power, then you can chain your Equimax to the power, negate the Dark Ruler.
You can do it with Crawler too if you have an extra extender next to
Yep.
Equimax still. Yeah.
Yes, and I actually, so someone actually asked the question, if you have to target a zone with Crawler and you do not,
No.
it just special summons itself. And then if
Correct.
it's to a zone, like monster points to. And Equimax tributes for cost, so by the time that all that's done, Equimax zone's open, Crawler can just weasel his way on up in there.
Correct.
So still coincidentally, I didn't see Crawler at all. That's probably why I went 8-0. I didn't see him till the very end.
What
when I
a
drew
legend.
I know, finally. I kind of missed him, not gonna lie.
No, I don't.
So finally at the very end, I drew off a Chaos Space and I drew Crawler. And the draw was just extra. I didn't need it to get to the board I was doing. I was just like, I'm gonna be greedy, and I drew Crawler, and I was like, ha, about time you showed up. So
yeah, I mean, it happens, right? Like, we're playing these Garnets,
yeah.
the Crawler, the Gamma Seal, the Redmd.
So,
That's, what is it? 3 and then potentially more. Like, if you draw into multiple
yes.
Waterfronts, it does happen, or multiple Chaos Spaces,
Yeah,
does happen.
exactly.
Right.
A Chaos Space does actually help out a little bit with that, because it makes the White Dragon not so much as a brick anymore, because then you, like I said, you can pitch the White Dragon with Chaos Space to get the Black Dragon. Redmd can summon itself. Really, the true honest Garnets in the deck, like you never want to see the one-ofs, is Crawl and Gamma Seal, really. Everything else, like, unless you see, and like any, like, like any 2 Crusadias or combo, you don't want to see 2 Skippers. Even if you see 2 Paralytic Seed, that's fine, because the extra one in your hand is just Skull Dread fodder, put back. The Gravedigger's Trap Hole, of course, is an extra, so 1, 2, 3, about four for sure bricks you never want to see in your hand.
Right. And I mean, sometimes too, which is really funny, and it does happen, is you would hard draw into the Gamma Seal, and sometimes you just one punch the game. It happens, man.
Yeah. So I started to learn like through playing the deck, like never side out the Waterfront because that's what I've just got to do. Like, and now my strategy with the deck is like Dark Ruler, break their board, build my board to make sure they can't come back, and you still need the Waterfront to do that. But like you said, sometimes you just hard draw the Gamma Seal, and you're just like, all right, and you just give it to him and one punch him. That actually happened like my round one against Necros, and I'll talk about that once we get here to the end of the deck profile here.
Sure. So, Imperms is self-explanatory, right? Because that's
Yeah.
just the
Yep.
best card in the deck. Waterfront, I noticed
Best
you cut
card.
it down to 2. So are you looking to it's like less commitment to the whole Gamma Seal strategy. Can you kind of like talk about that or elaborate?
Yes, it kind of killed me to do it, but it was just something like you said, if you open 2 Waterfronts, it's not good. However, I did open 2 Waterfronts, and then they ashed 1, so I just smacked another one on top of it because it's not a hard one to turn.
Yeah.
So, got them there, but, I definitely had to cut down on it because I need to make room for the Chaos Space engine and everything like that. But my thought process is, with Chaos Space in the deck, you are deck thinning so much by drawing a card, getting stuff. The likelihood of you seeing this in your Skull Dread draw is higher. You draw an extra card with Chaos Space, so you can see it. I mean, if you choose to play Dugaris, the Timeless, you get more draws. So, like, the likelihood of you drawing into it is high. It's just you want to see it in your opening hand. However, at the same time, if you don't see it in your opening hand, you want to be able to deck thin as much, and that's what the real deck's really good at deck thinning because everything searches, everything adds. Chaos Space definitely deck thins quite a bit, especially in conjunction with the Chaos Valkyrie by dumping the Maximus from your deck. So that's one less card you have to worry about drawing. You can draw into it. They've been plenty of times throughout the event where I just used Chaos Space and I top decked into, or I drew into, excuse me, not top deck, Waterfront right before I committed to the Skull Dread. So I just smacked Waterfront down, then linked all 4 of my monsters away into Skull Dread, then got to get the search for Gamma Seal after my Skull Dread resolved, and just
Must be
yeah.
nice.
So yeah, it was very nice. But that's something that this deck is like I emphasize on is like as much as like we want to see Waterfront, it is like the best win condition the deck has. We can set up like Equimax with the Dweller and the Rafflesia very easy in the deck. So
Right.
I mean, in that case, you cover everything. The Dweller shuts down the graveyard, Equimax covers face-up cards on the field, and then Rafflesia just covers the rest. Hand cards activate in the hand or banish. So it's definitely hard for them to play through that, especially because Equimax is so big from the Dweller. Rafflesia has just a big butt. And then you have that nice follow-up play where once you use Rafflesia, you just turn Rafflesia and Equimax into an Avermax. And then if they don't have the out for the Avermax, the writing's on the wall.
Oh yeah, it's super free if they don't have the Algebra Max.
But as far as Waterfront goes, like I did, like that was one of my main concerns when I did cut it. So Phoenix Flare, I don't know if you know who he is. He's a Dragoonity guy for
Oh yeah, I know
YouTube.
him.
So yeah, so he did the math one time when he played like World Chalice and the Crusadia Guardragon that the correct ratio for Waterfront was 2 Waterfront and 1 Terraforming. And that was proven by statistics, all that math mumbo jumbo. Like that was the correct way to play it. I just got tired of never seeing it, so I bumped it up to 4 copies, and I saw it way more. But after playing it yesterday, after the amount of deck thinning that you do with like Chaos Space, the additional consistency you get now, you do see it almost just as much as you would see 4 of it, at least for me so far.
Right. All right, let's do this live. We're gonna do 3 live test hands. We're gonna see if any of them break. All right. Are you ready, Charles? This is
Sounds good.
pop
Yeah, go right ahead.
test hand
All
time. Boom.
right.
That's not bad. That's pretty
That's
good.
actually like so yeah, so Waterfront smacks down. Then you activate Chaos Space pitching to Valkyrie. And the good thing about Valkyrie is like you can still use an extender, and you'll grab the Black Dragon, and then
Right.
you just do the typical Crusadia plays.
I
you
just
humble
want to
summon
see what we're gonna
Rafflesia.
draw off the Chaos Space, man.
Yeah, there we go. So then, yep, link, and then you banish the Valkyrie, of course.
Does
And
this
then you
trigger?
make a chain. Yep. So you make a Magius chain 1 and the Valkyrie chain 2.
And then you just send Equimax, correct? Or you can send any of these?
You
Maximus?
can send any of these later, but you send Maximus.
Oh man, if you can just pitch Formula Skipper to get Parallel Exceed, that'd be so busted.
Oh yeah, that would be like next level.
Like
Then you
biggest.
grab it. Yep. Then you grab the Draco. That'd be
Alright.
the biggest, like, that'd just be busted. But actually, coincidentally, it wouldn't work that way because Valkyrie just locks, and like you says, whatever scent can activate its effect. And I wouldn't use the Chaos Space now.
Right, because you
So
want to
go,
refresh your Black Dragon, right?
yep. So now, yep. So now we go into the Black Dragon gets you the White Dragon.
And then you can search for this if you want.
Yep, go ahead and grab it. Might as well deck it in while we can to make our Skuldra draws even better. You can even now, like, it's debatable. Like, you could do the White Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Or you can hold
Or
on to
you can
the Draco, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like you can do because Redmd will bring it out no matter what. But before you link off into, or right here, before you link off into LP, you could special the Valkyrie from your hand. So then you hold the Draco instead. And
Oh,
you
that's
just
actually
banish the
brilliant.
Megaeus.
That was a good hand, man. That was a good hand.
That was really good. Yeah, that's why Chaos Valkyrie is so busted in the deck. And then now you can go ahead and activate the Chaos Space to get the draw.
All right, let's do it. So would you put back the Black Dragon Call Up Serpent?
Oh yeah, yep. Because then you can that's an extra card you can put back off the Skull Dread. So if drew into form and skip. So that's not entirely like the best, but like assuming you didn't have Waterfront, you could special the Skipper, link it into Link Ruble, and then get Parallel to Exceed and continue on that way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But now you look at Exceed is just we actually are one card short of having the rest of the combo. So like by banishing, or not by banishing, by making Skull Dread here, all we need to do is draw into an extra Crusadia because we have Draco. Actually, we don't even need to draw into any extra Crusadia because Draco will get us back the Maximus, and then
Right.
Draco and Skull Dread equal Regulex. Regulex and Maximus get you the search. Then you have Gamma Seal and Equimax. And you still... Never mind. I was seeing things. So yeah. So now you can activate this to special the Draco. So, ooh.
I mean, you can save the Draco effect. Like, since you're not
Yeah.
actually popping off with it, you don't have to special the Draco.
No, and then right here, instead of summoning Redmd, since you had the Valkyrie out, you could have summoned Draco, got the search recursion, and then still had the Draco live in your hand because that's not special summoning it by its own effect.
Oh, okay. So you're saying we would LP into Draco grab your Maximus spec, and then link off into Yugioh with these 4. Okay, and then you would still have Redmd just in case you somehow get it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my mistake there.
Oh no, you're good. You're still, I mean, we're still gonna end up, and right here, yeah, definitely don't use link off with, don't use Draco. Keep Draco on the field.
Okay, keep Draco on the field.
Yep, because we want to have that. We want to already have the Crusadia name down there to get up into Regulex.
Oh, okay. See, everybody in the chat or everybody watching right now, this guy is playing 4-dimensional chess with Crusadias. Listen to him, dude.
It's just lots of, instead of hoping to draw into a Crusadia special summon, you already have one there, so you already have like, a part of the combo done. So wow, that's just straight crazy. So I would put back the Black Dragon and both skippers.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Because Leonis, Arborea, and obviously Gamma Seal is free. It's so funny too because, the other day or one of the vlogs, I went back with Crusadias. I went 4-0, like clean, and I didn't get the Kaiju combo at all, like the whole entire time at all.
Yeah, so like that's something that's very like the deck doesn't need the Kaiju combo in order to do it. It's just kind of a extra win condition that exists for us.
It's like, yeah, 9 times out of 10, unless like they're playing like Geist or something, they scoop if they see this.
Oh yeah, and right here you're gonna be able to even play around Dark Ruler no more because right now just turn the Skull Dread and the Draco into Regulex.
Mm-hmm.
Then you special the Arborea, get Crawler, make Avermax, or not Avermax, make Equimax and special the Leonis to the Leonis to Equimax, and then you have Crawler.
Mm-hmm.
And then right there you have the chainable card to stop Dark Ruler. You have Infinite Impermanence, which is a 2-for-1 in some scenarios. That's also something that when I went 8-0, I just kept plopping my Imperm in the middle column, and people still kept playing cards in the middle column.
It's muscle memory, man. It happens.
Yeah, so it was just, perfect timing. So yeah, so right here we have a total of, we have 2 negates off of the Gamma Seal, 1 negate off of the Equimax. Equimax, when he negates something, will get us another negate on the Gamma Seal, so that's 4 negates, 5 if you count the Imperm. and you got to research for succession with the crawler.
Yep, and also if I guess the research doesn't work out, then you could play around Dark Ruler no more by chaining this onto it and then chaining this afterwards.
Yeah, so like, yeah, if they Dark Ruler no more, you here, you have the perfect opportunity to stop Dark Ruler no more.
And you have protection with Arborea.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So on top of all of it, little spice added there. They're not getting rid of Equimax that easy.
Like even another kaiju wouldn't out it unless they somehow run over this one first. Somehow.
Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. They'd have to somehow beat over Gamma in order to do it, but Gamma is 3,500 booty, and that's kind of hard to beat.
Oh yeah, it's a thicky boy. They have to like literally activate Droplet and yeah, Droplet's actually the only way they can get out of this if they pitch a I believe a trap. If they pitch a trap and a monster, then they can get rid of this board.
Oh yeah, but most times they're gonna probably pitch a monster because let's be real, no one like outside of the faithful loyal people of this deck, they don't know. So if they pitch a monster, you just chain the trap and then negate it anyway.
Yep, GG.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, practically. Forbidden. That was something when people were talking about forbidden droplets. I was like, it's just a slightly better Dark Ruler no more in some aspects. And I was like, if I can negate Dark Ruler, I can negate this. It just takes, and then like you can even spice it up. If they know once you negate it once, they'll know you have a trap. So then you add the spell card, and then you whack them with the spell when they pitch a trap.
Right, Crusadia Power. So arguably, you could have arguably said that Power might have possibly been a better alternative because you may or may not get the search with this.
Yep, and then Crusadia Power would allow you to do the same thing for Dark Ruler, but also allow you to do the same beat droplets as well.
Absolutely. All right, so that was a fire first hand. Let's restart the second one. All right, this hand is interesting.
It's still fire because so like the skipper, normal reveal, you'll link it off and you'll get the extra exceed in your hand while triggering off the other one. You'll then get to make Rafflesia, so you beat the rock, and then Reclusia goes into. Oh, let's wait a minute here. I'm skipping steps. So then you link off. Parallel Exceed will get you another Exceed. Skipper will get you the third Exceed. You'll get a search for Arborea or Maximus, whichever one you choose.
Yep.
Make Rafflesia, play around the rock, and then you just have full Guardragon combo while not having to fear the rock. And then it all depends on what you draw off Skull Dread. The best
feeling is when you open Parallel Exceed, because you already know that you can't get Nibiru unless they have Ash and Nibiru.
Yeah, they must have two hand traps in order to stop you.
Yeah, and then they're working with 4 cards, but if you're playing against Dino and they open Oviraptor, you kind of die.
Yeah.
All right, third test hand. Oh, these have been pretty good.
Yeah, so the best thing now is so you open Crusadia Power. So right now, like the number one concern I'd see is like you don't have a dragon. Well, what happens if they do anything to your Magius right here? Well, right now the most important effect to resolve is the Magius, and you have power to answer all that.
Right, and you just normal summon a Borea, go Magius, and then special summon Reclusia, and then your Magius is pretty much safe to get Draco, just in case they change something to it. And then afterwards, you can banish the Magius and summon Valkyrie for extended.
Yeah, and then so if they decide to rock you, because we don't really have a way to play around the rock, you can actually, if they don't have any answer for the Magius and decide to hit you on your 5th summon, you can use the power to protect the Spatha, then turn the token and the Spatha into Equimax. And then by then, I don't know what your hand would be. I think you'd have Arborea because you'd add it back off the Draco on your 5th summon, and you'd also have the Valkyrie in your hand. So then you could push for Dawn Dragster and a Equimax with a set imperm. Or if you wanted to go even farther, you could go just use the Dawn Dragster and the Equimax to make Avermax with a set imperm.
Right. All right. So yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely, you just got to know the ways to play through the rock. And sometimes you say, so Avermax alone with an imperm is not the best board we can end on, but it might be the right board for that time. Your opponent has Avermax as an awkward card to deal with. They might not be able to handle a big boy like that can't be targeted on top of an imperm just sitting there just waiting to stop their plays. All imperm needs to do is prevent them from making something to beat over Avermax, and it can potentially do that.
Right, exactly. And one of the biggest problems with Avermax, obviously, it can't be targeted. But if they get rid of it and it somehow goes to the graveyard, you still plus because you shuffle one of their cards back. So it's just a really hard card to get rid of.
Yes, Avermax gets the last say in the matter. And you'd combo off like Avermax, like assuming assuming your hand was just bad, you didn't get anything, you still make Avermax and you have the power in your hand. It's practically they have to have a kaiju because they're not going to move Avermax at all. Avermax is sticking for the entire turn.
Yeah, it's especially deadly when you have Gameciel and Avermax, and they're like, oh, okay,
Oh,
King of Battle and Negate Effects, GG.
Pretty much. They really have to open Dark Ruler in that scenario, or Droplets, I guess, in that scenario in order to win. But again, like, you got to have it.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, we combo players, and actually the main reason why I decided to kind of move away from combo for a little bit is because like everybody was playing Nibiru, Dark Ruler. I was just getting really kind of tired of seeing those cards. But that's kind of like the price we pay for playing combo, right? You either have it,
Yeah.
or you don't. And the combo cards is only 6 cards out of your deck, so the chance of them actually opening it is relatively high, but not extremely high. It's like a 35% chance or something like that, if I did my math right with the 40 card deck. But it's something like that. So if they don't open it, you win. That's an auto win if you have full combo.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you have to account the possibility of you opening the right hand to counter it too. Like, so if they open the rock, but you open Paralytic Seed, you still have it. Actually, believe it or not, the card that I fear the most out of everything out there, like I said, I'm not too worried about Dark Ruler because we can negate Dark Ruler. We can negate Forbidden Droplets. We can negate, or we can stop the rock before Fifth Summon. It's Spear Mode because we cannot stop Spear Mode.
That's so funny because a little quick story about my last regionals. This was during Spiral format, so Sphere Mode was super popular. And I never ended on 3 monsters. And they actually won me a game. I always ended on Equimax and then Gameciel. And I wouldn't even use Crawler on standby phase because I was so terrified of Sphere Mode. And then
Spear Mode's terrifying, yeah. That's a good one.
I asked my opponent, and I'm like, all right, so you had like 3 cards in his hand. What were they? And he had 2 Sphere Mode in his hand. And he's like, yeah, I can't do anything if you don't summon 3 monsters.
So yeah, so like if Spear Mode ever decides to come back into the meta scene, like we can, like all we need is Equimax and a Gameciel, and we just gotta wait for them to commit. So like we can play around that, but in today's meta, like it's practically build your biggest board or lose. So like we have to put all this stuff in there. So we're practically walking into a Spear Mode if they have it, but if we don't do that, we risk losing.
Right, exactly. It sometimes boils down to if they have it, they have it. If they don't have it, then cool.
Yep. They gotta have it, duelists. Gotta have it.
All right. So one more question about your deck before I ask about your hardest matchup, because we're running around 45 minutes, which is a good runtime. This is great. So
okay, awesome.
One of the problems I have with the current Crusadia deck, and I've been trying to palliate to fix it, is when you make a combo, right? You go into Skull Dread and you use up practically all your resources. Let's say like you already used up your triple burst, and then you're running low on Link 2s, and the only Link 2 you have left is Phoenix, and you can't really extend with this because it doesn't give you an arrow. Like, what do you do afterwards once you run out of resources and your opponent is still grinding?
Well, that's very so a lot of it comes into recurrent resources back with Draco because like we're in a grind game. That means we clearly they added our first board or we're going second, and
Right.
like your recurring resource with Draco, because all you need to win the game is you need to punch him for damage. So it's really much just kind of managing and controlling resources with the Draco, analyzing the board, knowing like Draco can also add back power and stuff like that. It can add back crawlers. So like knowing what to grab, knowing what to use. But Draco is definitely the best card in the grind game. If you used all of your, like if, let's say if you plow through your entire extra deck and all you have left is a Phoenix, it's not looking too good for you. But like, I say that, but like if you make Phoenix, or if you're able to put Phoenix to where it's a zone, you can use Draco special, add back Equimax, link into Equimax, and then all you have to do is have Maximus in your hand.
Have you ever linked down from, like, let's say Equimax to Magius so you can Draco to get back your... That's the best play, dude.
I've linked down from Equimax to Magius to special to Draco to add back the Equimax to get the search for the Maximus.
Yep.
Then to link back right away right back into Equimax, and then to special the Maximus and punch for damage.
That feels so good.
Yes, it does. Something very interesting to note too, if they ever imperm or Valor your Magius before you activate the effect, you just go ahead and make like Regulex, search out the crawler or power, then link right back down into Magius, and then just get the search off of the Magius with an extra extender in your hand, and then go straight combo right there.
Yeah, it'd be it would definitely be their fault if they preemptively, or if they early imperm or early valid this, because you didn't use
Some
the effect
people
yet.
will do that.
Right.
Yeah, some people at my locals will do that because they're like, they know sort of thing. They're like, he better have the Draco. If he doesn't, we can win here. So I'll prematurely hit this. And I'm like, all right, special, go into Regulex, search crawler, search power, link down into Magius, special, effect Magius to search. And they're like, what?
Got him.
You got him. You got him, boys. It's the coffin dancers outsider peeking in.
Oh yeah. So
But
to wrap this up, can you just tell me about your hardest matchup at the locals? It was 20 people, right? Correct?
yep. So it was 4 rounds, and then we broke into top 8.
Oh wow, that's one heck of a day. You practically just went to a regionals.
Pretty much. That's what one of my YouTube members said. Like, dang, you practically just went to a regional. So I didn't even think of it like that. But I'll go through my quick matches. They were round 1 was Necros, round 2 was Stun, round 3 was Cyber Dragon, round 4 was Eldritch. Then let's hop into top 8. So round 5 was normal Cyber Dragon. Round 6 was Emancipator, and round 7 was the Eldritch again. And not gonna lie, my man, all day it was just it was 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. And I had like 3 games only went 2-1. It was the combo Cyber Dragon went 2-1. The Emancipator went 2-1, and my last match went 2-1. And it was arguably I'd have to say the hardest matchup for me was probably the combo Cyber Dragon, because they can just contact fuse out Equimex with ease. And this combo variant, it did the typical Halifibrex link cross kind of Auroradon stuff. So like not only were they like versatile because they could go first and go second with Cyber Dragon stuff, they could end on a board with Savage and Herald. They could end on with an Infinity there too. And then they could just like overload Fusion in the next turn and just punch you for game. Or if you went second, they could just if they went second, they could just punch you no matter what. So it was definitely my hardest matchup. At Emancipator and Eldritch, both of those games, I was able to see the turtle, at least one of them. And in the next games, it was straight up like Equimex, Rafflesia, and Dweller. Like that combination, those 3 cards there just practically shut down at Emancipator and Eldritch, because, Dweller stops the block dragon. Rafflesia can hit the Researcher in the hand, and then Equimex can cover any face-up card on the field, so it can stop like Halifibrex. So then Eldritch, those same thing, like I just said earlier in the video, those 3 cards just shut down. You stop the Cursed Eldland from searching, you can shut off their graveyard from recursion, and then if they have a Gold Lord in hand or graveyard, well, they couldn't even activate in the graveyard because of Dweller, but if they have it in hand, you can negate it and burn them. So yeah, by far the combo Cyber Dragon was the hardest match, because like at the point in which they removed the Equimex when I was going first, it's like he could easily play around Gameciel, because now I can't fuel the counters myself. So the possibility is there that he could play around it. And then I think I won game 1 because I won the dice roll. Game 2, he rocked me. I made Equimex with a negate. But like I said, Cyber Dragon, they go normal summon, contact, and that was all. That was all that happened there. And then game 3, I decided to go first, and my board was awful. I would like open 1 Crusadia, Crawler, Power, and a Waterfront,
Jesus.
and an Imperm. Yeah, so no extenders. So I was like, I saw what my hand was, so I activated Waterfront, set 4, normal summon, made Magius, and passed. And then the way that I made Magius was with Arborea. So then as soon as he started his turn, I was like, standby Crawler. I flipped Crawler, chain blocked out, so I got a search for Warlord 6 Succession and a Maximus. And then he tried to remove my Magius, but I powered it. And then he went to go into, I think it was some sort of, he just ended on a Galaxy Soldier, I think is what it was. And I ended up imperming the Galaxy Soldier's effect on the field to add.
Right.
And then he made Halifibrax, and then went on into the Savage and the Herald. And that's all he had was those 2 interruptions. And he tried to attack over my Magius, which I let go through. And then he tried to, I blocked that with the Arborea. So then immediately, so then to start out my turn, and since Savage does not negate, Savage does not destroy, I just linked my Crawler into my second Magius, tried to trigger to bait it. and then he ended up negating with Savage, and then I forced down Monster Reborn, and he responded with Herald.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was just free range. I actually ended up going into, I got my Kaiju. I ended up going all the way up through my combo. I actually ended up going into Spatha to move the Savage over.
Ah, okay.
And then I think, and then he there's something else. He ended up dropping a Phantasme on me as well. So like the odds were not looking in my favor. So I ended up moving the Savage over, making Equimax, going into Maximus. Then I had, I think, one more extra card in my hand to like make it like more damage. And then I used Maximus' effect to target my Equimax. Then I gave him the Kaiju. It was only, I Kaiju'd over the Phantasm. It was only 200 difference, but at this point I was like, I got to make sure any 200 can go. That's 400 extra damage, and I just one punched for the game there. So.
Oh, so okay, so I'm looking at it, and the reason why that happened was he just uses negates too early. That's all.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and because you saw that,
then,
you capitalize it and you beat the crap out of him.
Essentially, and it was very like the cards I had in my hand were, and he knows like what I was doing, so like he knows like the power cards in my deck. So it's like if he doesn't negate Monster Reborn, it might be too late. If he doesn't negate the Magius from getting me an extra search, it might be too late. So eventually, I guess I just had the gas in hand to force negations.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depended on if he would take the bait or not, and if he didn't, I had cards that would make him take the bait.
Right.
Because I thought it out in my head, like looking at it back at it, like I could have forced the Herald and then Monster Reborn back the Herald to protect myself from the Savage, So right there, like Monster Reborn alone would force another form of just force the Savage if I didn't force it with my Magius.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So yeah, so it was, but by far that was the hardest matchup all day. I can't really say much more. Eldritch wasn't too bad. Emancipator wasn't probably the next worst because like he played mind games with me. He started counting my summons and stuff like that and kind of messed with me. But that was one of the matches where Imperm really shined. I Impermed and then he plopped down a Fossil Fusion in the same column I Impermed, and I was like, gotcha. But then he had
that feels
another
bad.
one. Yeah. And then he had another one which he played differently. And again, the most best thing about Crusadia is if you don't kill them that turn 3, that's all we need is that turn 3 to climb up into Equimax in one punch.
Right. And the whole point of Crusadia games is the games are only long because you're making a board or you're thinking about how to break a board. It's never because like it's actually a true grind game, because what I like about this deck is it's kind of like gambling. It's all or nothing. You're using all this and committing to everything, or you get nothing out of it. And it just happens too. That's just the name.
Yep.
That's just how this deck works.
Exactly. So you're absolutely right. It's exactly how it works. You either make an unbreakable board and you win, or you break a unbreakable board and you win. There's no like really in between. I hate to say there's no like there's like really no in between. Like if you go second and you one punch and you attempt to one punch them and you don't one punch them or break their board, the chances of you winning are very, their comeback is probably going to be more than what you can negate. As good as Equimax is at holding a line, his one negate can easily be baited. And then going first, if you only end on like Equimax and like maybe a rank 4, like that's not the best board. And in some rare cases that might hold, but at that point, if they break your little board there, you're out of gas, sort of. You might have a turn 3 follow up, but it's not going to be like as explosive as your opening turn.
Right. Exactly. And to wrap this up, do you have any, closing comments for any of your viewers? I know like a lot of your fans come to my channel and they're like, oh, yo, Team COG got this new build, and I'm like, I'm already on it, man.
Not much, just support Akami here. Give a like, comment. Let's get into 3,000.
Yeah,
3,000 subs. He recently passed 2,000, and other than that, just stay safe and keep playing Rogue.
All right, thank you so much, Team COG.
Not a problem.
And don't forget, guys, it's time to duel.
The world ends now.